What's up guys, this is Yasser. Welcome back to my channel. You're watching Yaserfrags, and today I'm going to talk about another 5 perfumes from the brand Arabian Aroma. So if you haven't watched my first video on Arabian Aroma, you can check the link in the video description box, or I'll put it on the screen up here. So this is also an Indian brand which makes inspired versions, and some of them are really good. So you can watch my first video to understand which are the best ones which I have placed in the top 3. So today I'll be talking about 5 more inspired versions, and of course, like always, I do have some favorites which I'll put in the end. But let's start with the 5th one, and that is Armani Stronger With You inspired version. Okay, this is a 30 ml. They also have 50 ml option. Both are priced at the same price tag. You either choose 50 ml or 30 ml. It's just that the 30 ml has more oil concentration, but the price would remain the same. And their box looks something like this, which is similar for all the fragrances that they have. They have a standard packaging. The only difference is the blend. The bottle also looks the same. The 30 ml looks like this and 50 ml looks like this. So in order to get all the background details, you can watch the first video, because I have explained in detail about their brand, the packaging, and their options that they have. Now this time they have a buy 2 get 1 free option, which is also a temporary offer. So in case you're interested in buying, you can grab that opportunity. So let's get started with this one. This is Armani Stronger With You inspired version. In case you do not know how the original looks like, this is the original from Emporio. Armani Stronger With You. Invictus DNA with a nutty accord. And if you remember, I've also done another clone from Riffs, which is called Wonder of You, which is also inspired by this. So if I have to compare this one with this one, so this also opens up with mint, pineapple, and some violets. It is violet heavy, which is in general not my favorite, but violets are many people's favorite because it plays a very important role. Even Oud Satin Mood is violet dominant and many people love it. So don't just go by my personal taste. When I say that it's not my personal favorite, does not mean that it is not good. This is definitely a crowd pleaser because the combination of pineapple and violets play a very appealing factor to general public's nose. So definitely it is a crowd pleaser. So along with that opening, you get a bit of that peppery feel along with a bit of cardamom. So I wouldn't say this is a cardamom dominant fragrance, because this plays a lot with that violets and pineapple. And then in the dry down, you get some cinnamon, sage, vanilla, and that nutty accord. Now the nutty accord in this one is very dominant, unlike this one. So here the nutty accord does not play a major role, but the original has that dominant and that rich nutty accord along with cinnamon, pineapple, and the other notes I mentioned. So the original also projects a lot better than any of the clones that I've spoken about. Even if I have to compare Riff's Wonder of You, the original obviously is better projecting and better depth to the overall character. But for the price point, because this costs 7,000 plus, okay, for the price point, this only costs about 650 inclusive of delivery, and even if you get a 50 ml, that only costs about 650. So for that price tag, it is a no-brainer, guys. For this price, it is definitely worth that price. It performs decent, 2 hours of projection and 7 hours of lasting is what I get. Now for that price of 650, I should not be complaining. Now I do not know how you people consider fragrances for a price, because I'm definitely comparing it with this one. This definitely performs better than any clones out that you see in the market. But like I said, 7,000 versus 650 for a 50 ml, double it up to 1,300. So even if I say 1,300 versus 7,000, for the price, this is definitely worth. Coming in at number 4 is Paco Rabanne Phantom. Okay, now Phantom is a very new release from Paco Rabanne. Just like Invictus, it has that Invictus DNA, but it also has that mango accord sort of a vibe. So that's the beauty of Paco Rabanne Phantom. Now the clones these days are made really well. This also is very close, I would say about 80 to 85% close to Paco Rabanne Phantom. It does have that Invictus DNA with that mango sort of an accord. With that fruity character, it definitely suits for the high summers. Whether you wear it daytime or evening time does not really matter. It perfectly goes with the high summers. And the performance is pretty decent. 2 hours of projection and 6 to 7 hours of lasting. This also costs around 720, whether you get 50 ml or 30 ml, this costs around 720. And In the dry down, you also get a bit of vanilla, patchouli and lavender, but overall this is a fruity fragrance with that Invictus DNA plus mango accord in the opening. Okay, now coming at number 3 is 1001 Nights. This is just a 6 ml oil. You can also choose spray version. You can contact the seller. I'll give you all the details of the seller or the purchase options in the video description box. You can either choose oil or you can choose the spray version. Now the oil is a 6 ml which costs around 450. Now 1001 Nights from Ajmal has that little bit of that skanky Hindi oud, but you don't get that here, which means it is easy to wear. Now 1001 Nights is not everybody's cup of tea because it does have that skanky animalic character in the opening, which fades away after like 1.5 to 2 hours, and that's when 1001 Nights from Ajmal starts getting a little people friendly, which means that skankiness fades away, but the other notes starts popping out. Now the other notes has that fruity, slightly floral, musky, woody accord. Now here you don't get any sort of that animalic or skanky feel at all. It starts off with a beautiful raspberry accord along with that nice dark woody feel, which gives the interpretation of real oud. Okay, I don't think they have used real Hindi oud because Hindi oud would have definitely given that skanky animalic feel, which Ajmal has. You don't get that here, which is an advantage for people who do not like that skanky oud. Now here it is people friendly. It definitely has that dominance in that raspberry accord along with that woody feel, and then you get that little bit of slight floral feel along with musk and wood. Overall, this is a fantastic fragrance because that raspberry dominance actually reminds me of Rasasi Oud Al Mitali. So it does give you the feel of a mixture of 1001 Nights in the dry down plus that Rasasi Oud Mitali opening because of that raspberry accord. So overall, I actually love this. I would definitely suggest, in case you like Rasasi Oud Mitali and you want it on slightly on a budget, you definitely can try this. This 6 ml costs around 450 including delivery, so I think it's a reasonable price. Now performance wise, pretty decent. I do get 2 to 3 hours of projection and good 9 to 10 hours of lasting. Now the musk and wood in general has this nose blinding character, so people who go nose blind to musk and cedarwood may go nose blind with this very soon, so you may not sense the overall performance of this fragrance, but it actually lasts a good time. I easily got 9 to 10 hours when I tested indoors. All the fragrances I do test indoors, I do not test outdoors because you won't get the right performance when you go outdoors because evaporation is not something which you can control, so you obviously cannot test fragrances when you go outdoors. Now coming in at number 2 is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Now Elixir is a new release from Dior Sauvage, which is this one. I do have the original, but only that 2 ml VL, official VL. The official VL, because I did not really feel like buying the full bottle, which comes only as 60 ml and it costs around 10,000. I honestly did not feel that it is worth that price for a fresh type of fragrance, which is good enough, but not worth that price, because when I pay something about 10,000, I do have fragrances which is 10,000, 15,000, some even 18,000, but I need something complex and which is not common. So I should feel that I've paid that amount for something that is not very common. Now Dior Sauvage Elixir is definitely a good fragrance, but it is not something that is unique or which you haven't smelled. This right here is different from the regular Sauvage EDT and does perform better than the Sauvage EDT. It is more dominant on the patchouli note, so that's where Sauvage Elixir stands out. The clones or the inspired versions these days are also made with that same DNA where patchouli is made a bit dominant. So it has nutmeg, cinnamon in the opening with a bit of that citrus feel, but the citrus is so undertoned that it does not start off like the regular Dior Sauvage EDT, because regular Dior Sauvage EDT has geranium, citrus, aquatic accords. Here you don't get that geranium, citrus, aquatic accord at all. It is totally different. Cinnamon, nutmeg and patchouli is what you get mainly in the inspired version as well. Now as and when it dries down, that patchouli still sticks on along with some vetiver note. So the patchouli, like I said, is the most dominant note in Dior Sauvage Elixir. Now whether I talk about the original Dior Sauvage Elixir or the clones, the scent profile is more or less the same, but obviously Dior actually makes great quality. So I wouldn't say the quality is as good as this here. It's just that I'm comparing the price point, because 60 ml, let's say 60 ml, this is just a VL. Obviously I did not go for 60 ml, nor I have plans to get it, because I don't really feel it is worth that price. Unless the prices come down, I might buy in the future. But for that price tag, I really don't think that it is worth that price. So I would rather go with the clones, though the quality of inspired versions wouldn't match the original Dior Sauvage Elixir. Okay, so I'm being very honest. Now for this price, you shouldn't really complain, because this only costs about $740 for a 50 ml, or you take 30 ml, whatever you like. Now for that price tag, obviously you don't get that richness of what Dior creates, but you definitely get that same feel. I would say in the first 15 minutes, it does not really go in the same direction as Dior, but after 30 minutes is when it starts kicking in that character of Dior Sauvage Elixir, and it is about 80 to 85% close. Okay, the performance is also pretty decent. 2 to 3 hours of projection and 8 to 9 hours of lasting is what I get even from the inspired version. So that's Dior Sauvage Elixir. Now coming to number 1, this is my absolute favorite, guys. Now in this video, my topmost favorite goes to Layton, okay, from Perfumes de Marly. Now this one is the original Perfumes de Marly Layton, but this is the exclusive edition. My brother has the plain Layton, and that is why I preferred going with the exclusive edition, because the exclusive edition has that dark woody, oudi accord or note in addition to give it that depth to that. This is bang on, guys. Now honestly speaking, I've never come across an inspired version of Layton that is as good as this. Okay, I'm not hyping it for the sake of it, but I've never come across a clone or an inspired version that is as close as this. Now I'm not comparing this with Layton exclusive, I'm rather comparing it with Layton, because Layton and Layton exclusive does not really differ too much. The Layton is slightly on the fresher side. Exclusive had that dark oudi note. I wouldn't say Hindi oud, but it does have that Western style of oud, which gives that dark woody depth to it, which makes it a winter fragrance. Now this, I wouldn't say that it has that dark woody character which the exclusive has, but it definitely goes very much in line with the original Perfumes de Marly Layton. Okay, now the only difference is when it opens up, it is about 90% close to Layton. But when it starts drying down, which is about 45 minutes to 1 hour, it slightly loses that character and depth and whatever richness Perfumes de Marly has, and goes about 80 to 85%. Okay, now generally when I talk about inspired version, I say that in the beginning it is not close, but when it dries down, it gets closer, which is 85 to 90 or whatever the blend they have done. But here it is a bit opposite. I was super impressed with the opening because it is about 90% close, but after 45 minutes to 1 hour, it kind of loses that depth and that richness, and it fades away, not in terms of performance, that depth fades away, and it goes about 80 to 85% close to Layton. But I would still say that this is the best clone of Perfumes de Marly Layton that I've ever come across till date. Okay, now in case you are planning to get Layton, I would still say that you go with the 30 ml, because I don't think the 50 ml can give you the same depth feel, because original Perfumes de Marly definitely has that depth even after 4 and 5 hours. Now here it loses that depth and the richness of the Layton character within 1 hour, but does not mean that it does not perform. It does perform decent, projects about 2 hours, lasts about 8 to 9 hours, okay, 8 to 9 hours, but it has that slightly airy character, so maybe you may not be able to sense it after 4 to 5 hours, because it might make you nose blind very soon. The original also makes me nose blind very soon, but it still has that depth and character which is slightly lacking in this one. Now compare the price again, guys. This costs around 800 for a 30 ml or 50 ml. This is the most expensive one compared to all the 5 that I've spoken about. But the original Layton is about 12,000 for a 125 ml. So I think you know how to do the math, and you know how to decide whether you should go with the original or with the inspired version. If you do not have that budget, do not waste on fragrances that are 10,000 plus. Okay, you can simply rely on this, and this is the best clone that I've come across till date of Perfumes de Marly Layton. Okay, in case I have missed to mention what exactly Layton smells like, This is a warm, spicy vanilla fragrance with that fresh character. Okay, you can easily wear it in the summer evenings time as well. And you can also wear it in the cooler weathers, but it does suit the summer evening time, except exclusive because of the dark woody accord. It goes better in the winters, but Layton or the inspired version definitely goes in the summer evening times. Now, along with that, it also has apple, bit of lavender, some geranium, vanilla, bit of cardamom, patchouli. So overall, there's a lot of thing that plays around and blends well together, but mainly I get a dark patchouli along with some vanilla with some fresh accord. So overall, beautiful fragrance, definitely unique if you compare with the usual summer aquatic fresh citrus fragrance. This is definitely something different that you can wear in the summer evening times. Okay, so that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in case you have tried any of these. Comment down in the comment section. See you next time soon. Keep sharing the videos. Cheers.